Good morning, y'all. Let's try again. Let me know. Come on and let me know if you can hear me okay. Just put in the comments there. Some reason we're having some challenges with sound this morning. This morning we're going to take a look at cholesterol. Just checking to see if the sound is working. Melissa, if you can type in there and let me know if you can hear the sound. Tammy, can you hear the sound if you can type in there? We'll go ahead and start here. Apparently we're having some technical problems this morning with sound. Sounds good. Okay, great. Thank you, Denise. Denise is my cousin over in Middle Tennessee. Okay, so this morning we're looking at cholesterol, and Linda asked us last night if we'll take a look at cholesterol and triglycerides. Now, cholesterol is something that we have to have. The body is required to have cholesterol to run. So here's the benefits of cholesterol. It aids in the production of sex hormones. It's a building block for human tissue. It assists in bile production in the liver. And so if someone said, I have to get rid of my cholesterol totally, we'd actually die. So how's it work? It's kind of like a kitchen sink. In the kitchen sink, you have a hole that the water comes out, and then you have a hole that there's a drain. And you can turn both spigots on, and as long as you have, the way the engineers developed it, is you can have both spigots, but as long as there's nothing occluding the drain, it won't overflow. But what happens if someone goes and starts pouring 5-gallon buckets of water in the sink? It's not engineered to take that much more volume of water, that little hole. And that is what happens in our human body for cholesterol. If we get too much cholesterol, then our body it can't get rid of it like it's supposed to. Again, we need good cholesterol, but too much of it is too much. So how do we get too much cholesterol? The biggest way is diet and what we are eating. It's interesting as I do lab work over in Africa, and people in the bush don't have challenges with cholesterol. People in the major cities have problems with cholesterol. Why? The diet, the affluent diet. And what's the affluent diet? When people have more money, they eat different foods. When people are out in the bush, people who are not have as much money, they have different foods. So here's the food. If it has a mama, if it has a mother. So what foods have a mother? Let's take a look. My favorite sandwich is a tomato sandwich. Does the bread have a mother? Now we'll come back to bread, but does the bread have a mother? Pretty well, no. So there's no cholesterol unless it's been added to it, something that has a mama. Does the mayonnaise have a mother? Well, it depends on the mayonnaise that you have. Typical mayonnaise, it does. The eggs, that's Mrs. Chicken. Now, if you use something like Vegenaise or something like that, it doesn't have a mother. Does the tomato have a mother? No, tomatoes don't have mothers. Does the lettuce have a mother? No. How about the cheese? Well, if it comes from a cow, that's from Elsie. Elsie has a mama. What about if someone ate bacon? Does bacon have a mama? Yes, that's Miss Piggy. Does a pickle have a mama? No. So you kind of get the idea of if you eat food, if it comes from an animal, either from meat or from dairy, it is going to have cholesterol. That's just the way it is. Why? Fish, chickens, cows, they have to have cholesterol to run just like you and I have to have cholesterol to run. So if I ate you, I'm going to get cholesterol from eating you. So anything that you eat that has cholesterol in it, you're going to get cholesterol. Now, plant materials don't have to have cholesterol to run. They don't have cholesterol. But can you get cholesterol, or can a product? Y'all, we're having difficulties this morning. It's reconnecting again. I don't know what it is. So let me know if you can still hear me okay. All right, we have people still watching. Hopefully it's still running okay. We're having some challenges this morning. So, plants don't have cholesterol in them, but they can affect the cholesterol in us. So let's see, what's an example? Dr. William Davis found that when we eat the American wheat, that is the 42 chromosome wheat, other than the European wheat, which has 14 chromosomes, the American wheat has 42 chromosomes. According to William Davis, who's a cardiologist, it raises the LDL. So you can actually increase your cholesterol by eating a lot of wheat. Do Americans' affluent diet eat a lot of wheat? Absolutely. From bread to pasta to pizza dough to cookies and crackers and cake and pie dough, all kinds of things. Thank you there. Let me know you can still hear me. So there's a lot of food that has wheat in it. And according to William Davis in his research that started back in 1990, if we eat a lot of wheat, that can raise your cholesterol. There's another one that we found at the clinic which I used to work at, and we found that our patients were having, they would come in and their HDL would drop lower than other places like what we did. And that's why we do trending. We look at how other people do. We do benchmarking. And so we were trying to figure out why someone comes in, their HDL, the good cholesterol, which gets rid of the bad cholesterol, it was dropping way low. Well, we researched and researched for months and months and months. And finally, we noticed in our dietary department, we were eating more cashews than other places were serving cashews. Well, we were doing a lot of cashews, cashew gravy, cashew milk, cashew butter, just a lot of cashews. And what that did, and when we got rid of milk, people would add cashews to make it taste richer. The problem is we found that cashews lower HDL. When we took the cashews out, the patients didn't have a drop in HDL. Later, we saw that research in writing that other folks were doing and found that if you eat, now eating some cashews is fine, but too much cashews, like eating it all the time, that can lower your good cholesterol, which then allows your bad cholesterol to go up. So how do we lower cashews? How do we lower cholesterol? We lower cholesterol, the best way to do it is by diet. A number of years ago, my cholesterol was 288. I was still working in regular healthcare. And the guys at work said, Walt, look at you. You know, your dad's got cardiovascular issues. Your granddad, your kinfolk, all your kinfolk, they have cardio issues. And you're going to have to go on a statin. 288 is just way too high. Well, you know, I worked in the industry. I knew that the side effects of statins. I did not personally want to take a statin. So I thought, what can I do? So I went on a no added cholesterol diet. When I quit eating cholesterol, my cholesterol went from 288 to 104. 288 to 104. And all I did was stop eating cholesterol. And that's why this program works so well, that Duke University uses, that Cornell uses, that Pritikin uses, that Dr. Esselstyn at Cleveland Clinic uses. They stop the consumption of cholesterol, and that's why cholesterol drops so rapidly in this program. Stop eating the wheat or significantly lower. Now, we're not eating wheat right now, but when you go back to your maintenance diet, try going to a European wheat, an einkorn wheat, which is going to be in many ways better for you from an inflammation standpoint, a cholesterol issue. That's a number of reasons that einkorn is a whole lot better for us than regular American wheat. If you start eating cashews, eat them in moderation, not a lot. Again, when we get to the maintenance phase. And another issue is eating fiber. And right now you're eating a lot of fiber in this program. Your vegetables, your fruit, your rice has a lot of fiber. And that fiber helps to take the cholesterol out. And so that's why Dr. Kempner at Duke University, he stopped all cholesterol going in. He had a high fiber diet, and that's going to lower that cholesterol very rapidly. And that's why I like doing labs when I have to do in-house programs. Like when we finished the program in Africa, 2 weeks ago, we do labs at the beginning, we do labs at the end to show the reduction in cholesterol, the triglycerides, and the health benefits of that. And when we used to do them here, Y'all who've taken it here, y'all remember that we used to do labs at the beginning and at the ending. Is there supplementation? Yes, there is. If you need something really fast and you say, I've got to do something, my favorite is probably Cholesterol Pro. Cholesterol Pro is by now. It's bergamot, and it's a fruit, and it lowers cholesterol very quickly. Another thing is Listeril. It's garlic, and it comes out of England. It also helps to lower. It's very similar in the same family with the Alimed, same company that makes the Alimed that so many of y'all are familiar with. That's a tremendous antibiotic, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic, antimicrobial. Alimed is amazing for attacking pathogens. Well, the same company makes Listeril, and that works quite well for lowering cholesterol. Another one is lecithin granules. And you've heard me talk about lecithin granules when we're trying to clean out the atherosclerosis, the plaque. So not only does it dissolve the plaque to make your vessels have the normal size diameter, not only is it good for the brain, we said that the brain is 33% lecithin, but it also, lecithin granules, helps to lower your cholesterol. I'm not as worried about cholesterol as I am inflammation. Now, there's something I use, an indicator I like looking at for cholesterol. I'll take total cholesterol, divide it by HDL, and that's your cardiac risk ratio. That's your risk of having a heart attack. So take your total cholesterol, divide it by the HDL, and that's your cardiac risk ratio. And if they say the average is 4.5, some people say the average is 5. You want it below 4. You'd like it below 3.5. You'd like it below 3. And that's your goal. I'm more concerned about your cardiac risk ratio than your total cholesterol. But the other thing is I look at inflammation. What's your homocysteine doing? What's your CRP doing? Your C-reactive protein. Those guys are also huge issues that you want to take a look at when we're looking at your lipid issues. The next one is triglycerides. And triglycerides, well, what's the difference? What's the difference between cholesterol and triglycerides? They're both lipids. Well, let's look. Cholesterol is used to build cells and certain hormones. We talked about that just a moment ago. So we have a need for cholesterol. We can't just take it to zero, because cholesterol is used to build cells and certain hormones. And triglycerides also, we need triglycerides. Why? Triglycerides are stored calories and provide your body with energy. So we need energy. Well, if you don't have triglycerides, it's going to affect your energy. Let's look a little deeper. When you eat, your body converts any calories it doesn't need to use right away into triglycerides. The triglycerides are stored in your fat cells. Later, hormones release triglycerides for energy between meals. If you want energy between meals, you gotta have triglycerides. If you regularly eat more calories than you burn, is another cause of high triglycerides. So, yes, we need cholesterol. Yes, we need triglycerides, but we need them in the right proportion. So what throws triglyceride proportions off? Again, if we eat more calories than we burn, do we ever do that? A lot of times we do that. You know, are we exercising? And we lost that on our first run. I apologize, y'all. Something was happening this morning. But I'm having people call and they're saying, Walt, or they're texting and say, Walt, I'm not losing weight like I want to. It's not fast enough. One, you didn't gain it fast, and so we don't want to lose it too fast. But my good friend, Dr. Agatha Thrash, she said losing weight is not, for many, like a bell curve. It's like going downstairs. And so you have to lose, by increments. Remember the lady at Duke? When I was there, the lady, she comes up, I'm standing beside the physician, and he says, Mrs. So-and-so, you haven't lost weight in 3 days. You've only, instead of walking 5 miles, I want you to walk 8 miles. There's 2 ways that we lose weight. Major ways that Dr. Agatha talked about is you have to reduce calorie intake and increase calorie burn. Now, how can you decrease calorie intake in this program? If you're doing the Duke diet, you could swap over and do the juicing totally, or you could intermittently do some juicing. You could do intermittent fasting, where you do the Duke program for 5 days and do a water fast for 2 days or 1 day, or put a couple fast days in there. So there's several different things you can do to reduce your calorie intake, but then the calorie burn, just like that doc said, Mrs. Jones, whatever her name was, instead of 5 miles, I want you doing 8 miles today. We've got to increase the calorie burn. And people will tell me, well, I am walking all over the place. I'm an active person. I'm making the beds. I'm washing the dishes. I'm doing what? My nurses used to say, well, I'm pushing the med cart. I'm exercising. That was not exercising, pushing the med cart. That was years ago, because we don't use med carts anymore. But you need that cardiac, that where you're getting that pulse up. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. When you're going around the house and you're washing dishes, making the bed, sweeping the floor, doing this and this, yes, you're busy, you're moving, you have range of motion, but are you getting that high intensity going? And here's what I'm looking for. You can do high intensity by various ways. You can walk fast for, say, 3 minutes, slow for 1, fast for 3 minutes, slow for 1. You can go fast for 1, slow for 3, fast for 1, slow for 3. Or what we used to do for our patients is we'd put an Omron on them, a little thing on their wrist, and put a band around the chest, and we would take 220 minus their age. That's the maximum heart rate. And we start out at 65% of that, depending on the person's age. Let's say that number happened to be 115. We would go 10 beats above that, and we'd go 10 beats below that. And so we kept their exercise. We'd exercise them until they got to 120, and then they would stroll until they got down to 110. Then they're power walking again until they got up to 120. For some people, it might be the number was 130. So we were working them between a heart rate of 125 and 135, depending on their age. We got to get the heart rate up for that cardiac to get that good burn. And yes, it's good to walk around and do whatever, but if we're wanting to be really aggressive, we've got to get that cardiac up, that high intensity. And so if you've ever watched Barbara O'Neill, boy, she's just, going really, 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 really fast. That's what you need to do if your heart allows you. But Walt, I'm in a wheelchair. I can't do that. Do as much as you can, but exercise is critical. And that's where Dr. Kempner found exercising 4 times a day was huge. But Walt, I don't have time. I got work to do. Well, we got to make time. So if you're, before you go to work, get up 20 minutes earlier and go out there and do a power walk. If you're in the house and there's ice out there and snow, do jumping jacks in the house, do push-ups in the house, some high intensity training for 20 minutes before you go to work. And then when you're at work, at break time, before you eat your noon meal, do some high intensity training. Whatever you can get in there. When you get home, do it, and then do it in the evening. Not before you go to bed. Before that can kind of get the heart rate going too much and you can't fall asleep. But you want to get it at least 3-4 times a day. That exercise is critical. It is. Yes, drinking a lot of water is critical. Yes, getting to bed by 9 o'clock is critical. But that calorie intake, calorie burn, that's what you're looking at. Okay, so I'm trying to get going there, y'all. We lost time this morning where we had some malfunction on the tape. So, what are some other causes? Sugar, that's a huge one. And, eating high fructose corn syrup is a big way that we increase triglycerides. And high fructose corn syrup is in a lot of stuff. Stress will raise triglycerides. Do you have stress? Number 1 diagnosis in America, stress. Lower that stress level can help with triglycerides. Eating oil. It doesn't matter what kind of oil. I had a young girl come in one time. She was taking this class back in the other room. My very first class I did here 21 years ago. 14-year-old girl, and her triglycerides were crazy high. Well, the big 4 things I used to look at was sugar. Mom said no, she was a homeschooler. Stress? No, she didn't have stress. She eat meat? No, she didn't eat meat. She eat oil? That's it. This little girl would take olive oil and add olive oil to her food. And oil, O-I-L, oil, can raise triglycerides. Also, meat can raise triglycerides. What else can raise triglycerides? If we're obese, it can raise triglycerides. Eating more calories than are being burned for energy, and we saw that earlier. Lack of exercise, a sedentary lifestyle, type 2 diabetes, hypothyroidism, kidney disease, excessive alcohol consumption, and alcohol has sugar in it. Smoking can cause high cholesterol, triglycerides, and medication side effects. Those can cause the triglycerides to go up. So what do? You got to remove the cause. Remember, when we have issues, we got to identify the cause, and then we have to remove the cause. Remember the sandpaper? Got to stop the sandpaper. So what do? Cut back on calories, lose weight, increase exercise, avoid sugary foods, manage stress, stick to complex carbohydrates, not refined carbohydrates. And complex, you've got your simple carbs, and you've got your complex. Your complex are your fruits, your vegetables, your grains, what we're doing right now. Choose healthy fats. So when we go into that maintenance program, or not, as we look at fats, no, not margarine, no, not butter, maybe avocado, maybe some olives, those healthy fats. Eliminate alcohol. Exercise regularly. Exercise is huge here, y'all. Garlic. This is interesting. Take a look at this. Journal of Nutrition found that when in studies, when they receive raw garlic orally or injection, there was a 38% reduction in triglyceride levels. So that's why that Listeril works. It's a garlic product that lowers triglycerides. Eat a lot of garlic. It's really healthy for us. It's good for your immune system. Supplements that are good. We talked about Cholesterol Pro, lowers cholesterol. Cholesterol Pro lowers triglycerides. It raises HDL, so it's a good product. That's that bergamot. Lipoic acid, niacin, and again, garlic. I'm going to go ahead and cut kind of short here. We had problems at the beginning. Let me share with y'all another quote for the day. And this one comes from Matthew 7, 9 through 11. Or what man is there of you whom his son asks bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he asks a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more shall your Father, which is in heaven, give good things to them that what? Ask him. So if you're needing help, losing weight, staying on the program, whatever that is, or challenges in your personal life, ask God for help. He's there to help us. And how much more he loves us than a bad person would take care of their son. God loves us. He'll take care of us even more. Well, y'all have a great day. I hope we don't have problems with this again tomorrow. We'll see y'all tomorrow.